Hello and welcome to Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. My name is Juliana, and today's reading is a conversation with your higher self. So we're bringing through whatever they want to talk about. And your higher self, for those of you who aren't familiar or who don't really know or just want to know how I perceive that and how I conceptualize the higher self, it's kind of like, think of it like an part of your essence, part of your soul essence, who you truly are, your most authentic self, your the part of you that is outside of like the bounds of space and time as we know them. So they have perspective on your past, present, and future in a way that you might not in your just everyday day-to-day life. But you might feel more connected with this kind of most authentic part of yourself on some days, and sometimes you might feel a little bit less connected, but the idea is that this is you, this is the fullest expression of you, who you truly are and who you already are, and also who you will be at the same time. So that's who we're talking with. We're talking to you, essentially, and so that's what I did for each of the groups. Now, I do have 4 groups today, and for the heck of it, each group has 2 items that you can that are here to help you select. So for group 1, we have this jingle bell earring and this tiger's eye stone. So that's for group 1. For group 2, we have this white stone and this black stone. I'm actually not sure what this is. It's not a crystal, and I'm not sure what that is either, but it is a crystal. And then for group 3, we have this green stone and this purple stone. And for group 4, we have this red stone with gold flecks and this star pendant made out of tiger's eye. So we've got tiger's eye in the front and tiger's eye in the back. So yeah, whatever you feel most drawn to, you can pick based on that. You can head down to the timestamps now and skip to your group in the description or in the pinned comment. And yeah, use your intuition, and as always, only take messages that resonate with you, leave anything that does not, and trust your own intuition at the end of the day. You are powerful, and you know what you're about deep down. So with that being said, I will see you in your reading. Hi, group 1. If you selected the tiger's eye stone and this jingly earring, then you are in the right place, and this is your reading. And today we are talking to your higher self. So we're getting a message from your higher self, whatever your higher self wants to talk to you about. And I haven't pulled any cards yet. I'm going to do that on camera and just get right into it. But just in case you missed the intro, your higher self, as I understand it, is almost like your soul essence, or it could be, you could consider that your soul, but also like the truest, most authentic expression of you, your highest potential, and also the aspect of you that exists sort of outside of the bounds of time and space, who can have a higher perspective on your experiences thus far, your present, your future, and can give you just insight and guidance that will guide you towards the fullest, most authentic, and most comfortable expression of who you truly are. And sometimes we feel a bit more connected with that person in our present, and sometimes we feel a bit less connected with that person in our present. But the idea is that this is, for all intents and purposes, truly you. We're talking to you today. Just a version of you that is very connected to the divine, very connected to your highest wisdom, very connected to all aspects of yourself, your past, present, and future. And so whatever they want to talk about with you, whatever you want to talk about with you, that's what we're doing. So group 1's higher self, let's get right into it. I'm going to shuffle up this Mary L. tarot deck. I love this tarot deck. And we're going to get a card to represent an aspect of yourself, like your truest, most authentic self, that your higher self wants to highlight. And this can be like an energy that they want you to acknowledge within yourself and embody. And then we'll get more into a message if there's anything specific they want to talk about. So, all right. All right. that popped out right away. So for group 1's higher self, we have the 5 of discs, which is also known as the 5 of pentacles. And let me hold that up for you to see a bit more clearly. So the 5 of pentacles, now in the Rider-Waite-Smith, the most traditional tarot deck, it's quite different than what's depicted here. It's the card that shows 2 people who are walking together, but they're out in the cold, out in the snow. They look a little bit beaten down and broken down. And then there's a church window behind them where 5 pentacles are represented, almost like that's a sanctuary or a place where they might be seeking help, or they might not even realize that the help is there for them. And so sometimes there can be an aspect of that card where it's like not seeing the help that's right there behind you, or having access to a source of abundance that maybe you haven't quite tapped into yet, being able to acknowledge where there are resources you have that you might not have realized that you have access to. And it could also be about like 2 people who are in a struggle together, moving towards help, moving towards a safe space. There's a lot of different things it can mean. But in this deck, it's interesting because the 5 of Pentacles has a bit more to do with your inner landscape, your inner abundance. And I often think of the heart chakra. Because if you can kind of see on this card, this person has like a landscape within them, within their heart, that looks beautiful and abundant. I'm looking at it closer. There's like a river, there's a tree. I think there's some sheep drinking at the river. It's really quite beautiful, and it's about like your inner abundance, your inner reserves and resources. And it's a very loving card as well. So there could be elements of both interpretations of the 5 of Pentacles or all interpretations of the 5 of Pentacles that resonate with you at this time. But I do feel like the energy that your higher self wants to highlight within you is your inner peace, your ability to create inner peace within yourself, your heart, really, truly your heart, and perhaps your connection with... there's like a unity within yourself that you have access to, that maybe you've created or are seeking to create. And when I say a unity within yourself, it's because the word in the booklet that comes up is animus, and also it can indicate a lover, spouse, or mate, and it's like the idea of someone who's with you through thick and through thin. And we can have that relationship with other people in our lives, and we can also have that relationship with ourselves. And sometimes it can be very difficult to ground the relationship with ourselves where we feel like we're truly here for us, right? And that might be also something that your higher self, being a part of you, wants to highlight, is that you're very connected, whether you realize it or not, with your higher self. And also that your higher self is in fact here for you at all times, through thick and through thin, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter what happens in your life. Your higher self wants you to know that they have your back. They are you. And there's an aspect of your higher self, your most authentic self, that is truly being highlighted here, where if you don't feel like you have this connection with yourself, where you don't feel grounded within yourself, you don't feel connected with your body, maybe you don't feel, maybe you're not feeling like you're truly there for yourself in the way that you want to be, your higher self is highlighting that the true authentic expression of you is someone who is fully grounded within their body, there for themselves, in the sense that no matter what you're going through, you take care of yourself, you nurture your inner peace, you're very connected with your inner peace. And so this is being highlighted for you. So whether you feel like you're in that space right now, or you feel like you're not quite in that space right now, that's an important aspect of you. So if you are in that space, continue to nurture that inner peace, that feeling of nurturing yourself, caring for yourself, being there for yourself. And also, if you're not quite feeling like you're in that space right now, this is encouraging you to embrace that, move towards embracing that aspect of yourself, nurturing a sense of inner peace, nurturing your heart, Because I think a lot of people here have a lot of love to give, have a big heart, and it's nurturing that within yourself so that you have this abundance within yourself of love and of peace that you can radiate outwards, and also is a continued reserve for yourself where you don't have to go outside of yourself to seek it, but you always have access to it within you. And also for some of you, there might be a real significance around finding or cultivating a relationship with another person, a lover or spouse. And so that could be an important aspect of your journey that you might have already begun, or you might be looking for. If you do feel a calling to find a significant relationship in your life and you don't currently have one like that, this is acknowledging that that's something that, that's part of who you are, that's part of your journey, and you can certainly look forward to that and also move towards becoming the person for yourself that you want to be with in the future, and or nurturing a relationship that you currently have and focusing on ways that you can show up for yourself within that relationship, and thus also show up better in the relationship in general to ensure that it is the best possible relationship for you and also for whomever you are with. And through that process, you can also get a better feel for whether or not you and this other person are most aligned with each other's highest good, by becoming as connected as possible with your heart. I think your higher self might be also calling you to ground more, so to be in nature, and or do grounding practices, focusing on the root chakra. You can always do the meditation. I've done so many different variations of this depending on what venue I'm in or what I'm listening to, where you're sitting with yourself, you're meditating, and you're visualizing roots emerging from your feet or your root chakra and going down into the earth and giving back, and also pulling in energy, loving energy through your body and up your chakra system, and then connecting as well with your divine wisdom through your crown chakra. So that might be a practice you're familiar with, but definitely if you aren't, or if you have been sort of neglecting that practice, that might be something that you want to do, and you might be able to find some guided meditations online that can help you do that. You can look for grounding meditations, but also just being in nature as well, being with animals, nurturing your heart, anything, maybe even doing a heart chakra meditation where you're connecting with that area, that part of your energetic body, and seeing what's in there, if there are any blockages, or if it feels clear. And if it feels clear and open, what is it telling you? Does it have any messages for you? So that all sounds important, and that is part of what your higher self wants to make sure you're aware of. And I do feel like, a deeply loving and peaceful nature is really important, and a true part of who all of you in Group 1 really are, and what you're being called to tap into right now. So, Group 1's higher self, in addition to that, what do you want to talk to Group 1 about right now? What messages do you have? What might they need to hear? Just what's the thing that you really want to highlight for them right now? Group 1's higher self. Okay, Group 1's higher self. Interesting. Oh, that's 3 cards. Okay. Boop. Like this. Those all came out together, so we will keep that in mind. Let's see, can I move that down a little bit more? Yeah, you can still see that. Okay. And let's see if there's one more. Is there one more card? Ooh, no, there's 2 more. Okay, we'll take them. I'm feeling, yeah, let's keep these 2 together. Let's put it like that. Let me take a moment to get this a little bit prettier than it is showing up right now. You know what? Let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. Yeah. One day I will get a setup with more room. Okay. Yeah, let's do it like this. Okay. So, group one's higher self. Well, first of all, over here, we got the Two of Cups reversed. So, I feel like that's emphasizing what I said before about creating a relationship with yourself that mirrors the relationship that you want to experience with others or with maybe a significant other in your outer world. So creating that within your inner world so that it mirrors to you on the outer world exactly how you want it to be. And maybe for some of you, this is very specifically about a romantic relationship or a significant relationship in your life that you are wanting to improve, focus upon, work on, or bring into your life. And I feel like you've got such a beautiful capacity for love and to be a loving partner. And that if this message is for you, if this is resonating with you, like this is something that you know or connected with or at least open to. Obviously, if it's not resonating, this might not be your group. But for those of you for whom that is a significant thing that you want in your life, but even if it's not, cultivating a loving relationship with yourself, treating yourself the way that you want to be treated from a partner, and learning how to be that person for other people as well, will help bring in this dynamic between you and an existing partner or between you and someone new, whatever is true for your situation. So that's pretty specific. I do feel like that's something that they really want to highlight. And it's the idea that like it starts from within. Like create that paradise within yourself. Maybe even for some of you actually like visualizing your inner world and visualizing and imagining what that looks like, what it feels like, who's in your inner world, what like creatures might show up for you. Are there spirit guides there? Are there people from your outside life in your inner world? Do you want that to be the case? Like, what do you want from your inner world? How does it look to you? How does it feel to you? And if it's not feeling quite right, is there anything there that you can remove and get rid of? Is there anything that's not there that you want to bring into your inner world? And even just starting to do that from a place of like just having fun, doing a little fun visualization exercise or imaginative exercise, maybe writing it down, maybe drawing it out, whatever feels right to you. Just having a little fun with that and seeing where that goes. That might be a good place for some of you to start. If you're feeling like you've maybe been a little disconnected from this, and you haven't felt very grounded, and maybe you haven't felt very connected with your heart, and what's truly in it. And if you haven't felt very connected with the best version of you or the version of you that you want to show up as in a relationship, for example. So that could be a really fun exercise for you, actually. And I think you can have a lot of fun with it if you choose to. And it can also maybe be enlightening and it could even be a bit of an emotional experience. But for some of you, you might need that. And it might remove some blockages for you around your heart chakra if you have them. With the Ace of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles all in reverse here, and they all kind of came out together, but like next to each other. Okay. So you might have some mental activity going on that is getting in the way of you connecting with your heart. You might be finding that you're trying to logic your way through situations that require you to feel your way through them. That you're trying to logic yourself past emotions that are refusing to leave, basically, that you kind of haven't let yourself experience. And all of those kinds of things do block your heart chakra, do block your heart, your emotions. Your emotions need to be flowing freely in order for you to be able to give them freely to other people, but also to yourself. And so with the reverse, like, air energy that's happening here, that might be part of what is getting in your way. You might have just a lot of mental chatter, a lot of rumination happening. And for some of you, it has to do with work. Like, this is very specific, but your job might be interfering with with connecting with your emotions. Or you might be using work in order to avoid your emotions, thinking about, work when you're trying to avoid feeling through certain things that are going on in your life, or certain things that are coming up within your body. And, here's something that's important to point out, is that sometimes when you're feeling an emotion, you put a story to it that may or may not even be associated originally with where the emotion is coming from, because you're so used to thinking and just like labeling things and trying to figure out, okay, like something doesn't feel right now, what does this mean, what do I do about it, and like trying to just kind of like logic your way through it. But sometimes what actually serves you is, even if there's a specific reason for you to be feeling the emotion, like sometimes, thinking through it can still be part of the process, but sometimes also detaching the feeling and sensation within your body from your thoughts and just being in your body for a moment and like noticing, where is the sensation happening? Is it in my chest? Is it in my stomach? Do I have tension in my shoulders? Putting yourself back in your body, getting out of your mind, might help move that energy a bit faster, whereas rumination and overthinking will just keep it stuck, right? And some of you, look, if you have the means, and if this is something that resonates with you, that work might be getting in the way, if you have the means and the availability, you might consider taking a day off of work to do this, or even a half a day or something like that. But even just like after work, or like your lunch break, whatever, even just doing this for like maybe just taking a minute out of the day, if this is something that's very new to you and it's hard for you to sit with yourself and be in your body, just saying like, okay, I'll set a timer for 1 minute. I'm going to spend 1 minute breathing and just like feeling where there's a feeling in my body that I'm noticing, and just going to that and like looking into it. If, doing more than that is overwhelming, or if you feel like you don't have time to do more than that, if you can maybe up it to like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or if you have a whole meditation practice that you are looking to engage with, or already do, but maybe haven't been focusing on this so much, then do that. But just something to get you out of your mind and into your heart, because this is all about connecting with your heart, and I think your higher self will connect with you more effectively when you're connected to your heart. For those of you for whom this isn't necessarily specifically like a work thing that's keeping your mind occupied, or you're not using work in that way, or maybe you don't think you are, because like sometimes, we're not always aware that that's what we're doing. This could also be about ruminating about like sharing yourself. And if this is about a relationship, or wanting to be open to a relationship, wanting to open your heart to a relationship, or to someone, or to forge a deeper bond with someone you're already in a relationship with, you might have some overthinking happening about sharing yourself with other people. Because I can see the Three of Pentacles sometimes as a card that's about sharing. It's about working with others. It's about showing others your true self, or what's really important to you. And so you might be overthinking that. And again, getting in touch with your heart space, cutting off the rumination, getting into your body more, working out, but in a way where like if you can do that without like occupying your mind on other things, but focusing really on your breathing, on your body, on what's happening within you, for at least part of your workout, that can really help. Getting rid of any mental stimulation, just taking like some amount of time out of your day to remove mental stimulation and feel your body and be in your body, and doing that on a regular basis, like that's gonna really help you here, and your higher self really wants you to do that, because I feel like that will just unblock so much stuff for you. And it might not even be that deep, like it might not be that dramatic of a change or shift that you need to do here. It might just be a small tweak or adjustment, and for others of you it might be a bit of a bigger endeavor, but I do feel like even if it's a bigger endeavor, just making like one small tweak at a time, or just opening yourself up to a more embodied, a more grounded habit of being in your body, just like on a regular basis, even if it's just for a short time each day, that will have a bigger impact than you might imagine. Because over here, we have the Queen of Wands and the Six of Cups, which came out together. And I feel like the Queen of Wands, she is a very confident, charismatic person. She's really centered in herself. She's a really wonderful energy to embody, and perhaps there are some of you for whom this is who you want to be. Also, this Queen of Wands has a sunflower in her hand. Sunflower philosophy. This could be a person in your life as well, the Queen of Wands, with whom maybe you want to share something with, because with the Six of Cups here, we have this child sharing with this other person. So, okay, for those of you for whom this is actually a person, maybe that you're looking to connect with, because with the Two of Cups over here, it could be yourself. So this could be an embodiment of yourself. This really confident, really charismatic, just like easygoing, sure of herself persona, no matter what your gender is, who is someone who's willing and able and ready to share with those around them. Also very connected with her child self, because the Six of Cups, I feel, is like childhood. It can be the past, but it can also be a loving, like, soulmate relationship, which is why I also said this could be also someone you're looking to connect with. And the fact that animus is a word that's associated with this card in the deck, maybe connecting with this part of yourself, like this is a part of yourself that's also a part of your soulmate, if you believe in soulmates, or a person that you want to connect with, or the kind of person you want to be in a relationship with, or the kind of person you are in a relationship with. Like, connecting with the parts of that person, whether they're in your life now, or they're someone you imagine, or someone you want to bring into your life. Connecting with the parts of, like, that person that is already within you will help you connect with that person in real life. It's all real life, but in your outer reality, right? And being willing and open to sharing yourself with another person. And also, this might be a bond between you and another person that is very fulfilling, because you might connect on the level of your inner children. Like, your child selves feel very comfortable with each other. And so connecting with your inner child might also be part of this process. So getting to know who your child self really was. And sometimes we have a lot of rejection around our child selves because maybe they were rejected by other people, and we learn to reject that part of ourselves as well. So we might be a little hard on our past selves. Ooh, hello, I get that. I can definitely be very hard on my past self. And I realized, especially even today, I had that realization of that the way I talk about my past self, whether it's like, not necessarily always even the young child part of me, but like more like the teen to young adult aspects of me, can be just tinged with a lot of negativity and feeling bad about circumstances where I felt like I could have handled things better or been in a better place, and wishing I could have been a better person. And this is kind of like extending a hand of acceptance and love towards all versions of you, and being open to seeing new perspectives on yourself from the past. Instead of saying, wow, I was so stupid or dumb, or I should have acted differently and I can't believe I didn't know better. Looking back and seeing the situations that you were in from different angles from the person that you are now, who has evolved and moved past those things, and seeing yourself as a whole 3D person who was interacting with the world around you that also had a lot of factors going on, whether it's other people or circumstances, and realizing that it was a complicated situation. Your past has a lot of facets, and there are different ways in which you can look at a situation. And at a certain point, it's less important, because the situation is past, it's less important it's less important to find the truth of what happened, in the sense of like, okay, what do you mean by that? Okay. So, for example, when you look back at your past self, you might be tempted to be very hard on yourself out of a misplaced, almost, need to feel like, to exhibit humility, to humble yourself. And while humility is great and lovely and important and is something that can be useful and good for us to embrace, with the Queen of Wands here, she's confident. She's looking towards the future. She's got a strong ego, but not to the detriment of being able to humble herself when she needs to. But yet, again, she's got a strong ego enough to move forward and to not take things too hard, to not be too hard on herself that it prevents her from looking to the future and being her best self, right? And so it's like you might have this experience of wanting to humble yourself by looking back and being like, yeah, but I just, I was so stupid when I was younger, or like, man, I was just so immature. But sometimes if you linger too long in that energy and you're too hard on yourself and negative about yourself, you start to feel helpless to be anyone else. And sometimes also your interpretation of who you were and how you acted is just that, an interpretation. And it might be based on emotional turmoil that you were going through at the time where you felt a certain way about a situation and about yourself, but maybe no one else saw it that way. Or maybe someone else would have seen that situation differently. And so you start to realize the subjectivity of what you were experiencing, and also how our memories of the past are tinged by all sorts of things that edit and warp those memories into things that just aren't a representation of what really actually happened. And you might not actually need to go back and figure out what actually happened, but what you can do is look at the imagined aspects of the past that you're imagining that might not even be fully accurate, and say, okay, well, I'm looking at what I don't want here. But if there's a don't want in this situation, then there is a do want. So focus on the do want. Focus on the opposite end of that spectrum. And maybe even imagine the scenario happening in a different way, if there are specific scenarios in your life where you respond differently. You respond how you would want to respond now. Or if it's something that's difficult because you were very young, or you felt vulnerable and it was something that maybe you were almost like, maybe you were the victim in a situation, but maybe you also have some shame because you feel like even though it wasn't your fault and something happened that wasn't really within your control, there's a part of you that wants to have control and wishes that you had more control. Well, you can also re-experience that in your imagination as the person you are now, and imagine you being there for yourself in a way that you couldn't be back then. And that can really help you see how you need to be there for yourself in the present. And that is a really big thing that's coming through here is being able to be there for yourself in a way that is the way that you want other people to show up for you, and the way that you want to show up for other people. Because that is the foundation of having a wonderful relationship with others, loving relationships, is to be able to cultivate that within yourself, and to be able to have the confidence, the ego strength to move on from the past, and to learn to see the past in a new light, because that new light is going to be the way that you move and feel and experience the future. And so you shift from that negative perspective, that perspective of what you don't want, to say, okay, thank you, I know what I don't want, what do I want? What's the opposite of this? Or is the opposite of this what I want? Or is it something else, and interrogate that a bit. Get really connected with what's in your heart, get really connected with who you truly are, and then be able to more readily share yourself with others, because you also are able to share with yourself, be honest with yourself, be loving towards yourself, be connected with the source of peace and love within you that is always there for you if you are able to sit down and access it. And again, that might require some time getting into your body rather than being so up in your head and being wrapped up in things around you. And that can be a slow process that you introduce into your life over time, and you gradually make more part of your everyday practice. And it could just be something where you do that, but maybe you've just been a little out of balance and you just need to shift things back into balance. And again, all of this will connect you more with your higher self, with the part of you that has this just beautiful, I think, source of love. Like, you are a very loving person who wants to love and be loved. in the world. And that's wonderful. And I think you've got a lot of wonderful, beautiful qualities within yourself to share. And it's just a matter of tapping into those and connecting with those. And some of you might be experiencing some shame, some negative self-talk, some reemergence of memories that are hurtful to you, that you have a bad perspective on, or you have a negative perspective on about, that make you feel bad about yourself. That you just need to shift your focus from, learn from, grow from, and maybe even learn to see in a different light. And you deserve to feel confident and connected with yourself. And I feel that there's just like there's so much beauty within you that wants to come out. So this is such a lovely energy that your higher self is wanting you to embody, because it's part of you. It's like, it's who you are, you know? And it's just a matter of reconnecting with that. So, okay. Well, I do want to close with just a quote card from your higher self. Probably just, one, but I can't always control how many come out of this. And then we'll just leave it there. So, group one's higher self. Do you have any quote card you want to close with here? That one. Okay. And actually, I can't not give them the option of taking a card from the other pile as well, because there's so many of these. So any other, do you have another quote card for group one that you want to share? Okay. So we have this one. I heard you are an angel. So maybe some of you need to hear that. And also, like, this is your higher self with you, and maybe you have some angels with you as well. The quote is from Fleabag, the TV show. And it says, maybe happiness isn't what you believe, but who you believe. Yeah. And I think a lot of you need to believe in yourself, and also decide who around you and also who within you, like what parts of you that you truly believe, and what parts of you that you, and the beliefs that you have that lead you towards happiness and contentness with yourself and inner peace and love, and the parts of your beliefs that maybe are the opposite of that. And again, with the mental energy maybe bogging you down right now, you might have some negative or limiting beliefs that you're ready to let go of that will help you connect with your heart more. And we have hearts on this card. So yeah, hearts are a big thing. Your heart chakra, your heart in the metaphorical like sense of like love. Like what brings you love? What brings you joy? What brings you passion? What makes you feel soft and gooey inside, you know? And we have, you can't protect the ones you love. You have to hope they're smart enough to save themselves. And this is from Bone Gap by Laura Ruby. And so in the original context of this quote, the character who's saying this is a bit detached and a bit cold. And so he's not really saying it in a way where you're supposed to take the advice from it. You're just supposed to get an idea of his worldview as someone who has sort of given up protecting others. And I believe, if I remember correctly, this is kind of based on his own experiences of loss, sort of shutting him down to wanting to be emotionally involved with the people around him. However, there's two messages we can take out of that. One of them is perhaps there has been some emotional detachment on your part because of a loss in the past that you're ready to be aware of and move through and let go of. And you're ready to open up your heart again and get in touch with your heart again. And that might be why maybe you've had a loss in the recent past, or even not recent, but in the past that might be blocking you from connecting with people in the way that you want to, whether it's a heartbreak romantically or even like a death or anything like that, any kind of loss. So that might be highlighting an aspect of you that's maybe emotionally unavailable and detached, that's ready to be healed, right? That's ready to move past that. But another thing that we can take from that as well is, on the more positive side of what this quote could mean, out of the context that it's originally in, is knowing when to trust other people to have their best interests at heart and focus more on having your own best interests at heart so you can take care of yourself and not trying to save or give to others out of a place of not being able to save or give to yourself, right? Sometimes we do chase after other people to try to help them desperately, whether they're asking for it or not, when what we're really wanting to do is for someone to do that for us because we are feeling like we need help. We're coming from a space of feeling like we need protection and safety, but we don't know how to receive that. So we try to give it to other people, whether they want it or not, whether they need it or not, and whether we have the capacity to give that or not. And that can be a difficult space to be in, but being able to trust other people to take care of themselves while you turn inward and take care of yourself is an important part of life as well, because sometimes that's the place that we're truly in, and we just need to focus on ourselves for some time so we can make sure that we're really not burning ourselves out and not trying to overgive to other people from a misplaced sense of needing to be given to, right? And from not knowing how to receive. If you have trouble receiving love from other people, you might also have trouble giving it, but you also might have trouble receiving it, and you might be tempted to overgive at times when you need to be giving to yourself. And so that, again, with all this information here that seems to be speaking simultaneously about a relationship with yourself and a relationship with another person and or people, it's very important to balance giving and receiving within yourself and knowing when and knowing how to do that for yourself. And sometimes giving can look like giving yourself a day off when you need it, even if there's a part of you that's like, no, people will be so mad if I take this day off. People around me need me or whatever. But like, no one needs you more than you need you, right? And so some of you might need to hear that because you might be having trouble. Ooh, I just got a ringing in my right ear at that, so that might be like really significant. No one needs you more than you need you right now, okay? Doesn't mean that other people can't be in your life, can't be around you, but you might need to be honest with yourself and with others about where you're at and what you are able to give and what you're not able to give. And some people will be able to be there for you and maybe actually give to you whatever you need to receive in terms of maybe emotional support or even physical support. And other people might not be at capacity to do that for you, but they need to know that they can't come to you for stuff right now and they need to be seeking help elsewhere. So take all of that as it resonates. But I really feel like your higher self just wants you to tap into the beautiful, loving, nurturing heart of yours and open up to receiving and experiencing more love within yourself and also within your world around you. And knowing that that is already who you are and already part of you, and you can forgive yourself for things that you might need to forgive yourself for is something that just came up as well. So we're going to leave it at that. So thank you, Group 1's higher self. Thank you, spirit guides, anyone else around who helped with that message coming through. Thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. That would be super helpful. I'd also love to hear how these messages resonate and what your experiences are if you're willing to share them in the comments below. And also, if you're interested in any of our services, we do offer hypnosis, human design, and tarot readings. So you can check out our link, sunflowerphilosophy.com, in the description if you're interested in any of those. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hi, Group 2. If you selected these stones, this black stone and this white sort of thingy, then you're in the right place. And this is your reading, which is going to be a message from your higher self. So in case you missed the intro, your higher self is as I understand it, and you can use your own understanding if it differs a little bit from mine, but is that your higher self is kind of like your soul essence or a part of your soul, but also just representative of your truest self, your truest nature, and the part of you that has a higher perspective on life, and that's kind of reached your highest potential. And this part of you is also, like, I see them as a part of you that exists outside of the bounds of time and space as we know it. So they have perspectives on your past, present, and future that might be a bit more holistic than what you might have access to on a day-to-day basis. But most importantly, this is you. So we're talking to you today. And this might be you in a way that you feel more connected to on some days than other days. But this is, for all intents and purposes, who you are at your truest, most authentic, most comfortable level. So that's what we're tapping into today. That's who we're talking to today. And I am going to shuffle the cards during this reading, and I have not pulled any yet. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this deck, the Mary L. Tarot deck, to get a card first to represent an aspect or energy of yourself that your higher self wants to highlight and wants you to connect with and tap into. And then I'm going to just pull some more cards to get messages, like whatever your higher self wants to talk to you about right now, whatever is most important, most loving for you to hear right now. So let's just get right into it. So group 2's higher self, what aspect of their true self, what aspect of you do you want to highlight right now? So we got the Sun card, which is beautiful. All of these cards are really quite beautiful. So first of all, the Sun card is, I believe, most associated with the sign of Leo. And it's like August mostly, maybe, is it end of July into August? And the Sun card is... I also get the solar plexus chakra, which is associated with confidence, self-confidence, and that just came through really strongly. So there's something here about confidence. But also the Sun card is a very joyful card. It's very childlike. It's happy. It's playful. And it's really quite a wonderful energy. And I did notice when the card came out, when it flipped out over off to the side, so you probably didn't see it, but it came out kind of like on its side, potentially reversed. So for a lot of you, it's possible that right now you're not necessarily feeling super connected with the joyful, childish even, a very showy, very confident, very happy part of yourself. But this is highlighting that this is a very important aspect of who you are and your personality. And this is an energy that you're being encouraged to move towards and tap into. This is your happiness, some words that are in the booklet for this card, as well as like joy, boisterousness, rowdiness, creativity, energy, like shining your light, shining your personality out to the world. It's very outgoing energy. Some of you maybe are extroverts who might be having a little trouble tapping into or connecting with your more extroverted side. Some of you might be like, oh no, I am not an extrovert. And maybe for those of you, there's a reason why you feel that way. That is not actually because that's who you truly are. Like maybe you're truly a more extroverted person, but for various reasons you've been feeling more introverted lately, and it's kind of like cultivating an environment and internally and externally that will allow you to embrace your more extroverted nature. And for others of you, you're not like that in general, like you're not extroverted, but maybe there's a part of you that, again, it's just like tapping into your inner sense of joy, happiness, the part of you that radiates energy, vitality, no matter if you're in a crowd of people or you're just, someone who prefers to stick with some close friends and stick to yourself most of the time. It's like you can still shine that light for yourself. You can still shine that light for a small group of people. But I just know that it's a very outgoing card. So some of you, outgoingness might be really important to you. And it might also not be an important aspect of your personality in general, but it could be an important aspect of something that you want to tap into for a certain task that you want to complete, or a certain project that you want to do or engage in, or a certain move that you want to make in life. So tapping into a more extroverted or just more playful and outgoing energy might help you with that particular aspect of life. So that's a possibility as well. But yeah, it's a really lovely, happy card, and it's a very powerful card and energy. So let's get into the tarot cards now, and let's add to this message or see what else your higher self wants to highlight and wants to talk about for you. See why, why the Sun card might be coming through, and also if there's anything else that is important right now. So Group 2's higher self, what messages do you have for Group 2? What do you want to talk about right now? Okay. Ooh. Okay. That Knight of Cups flipped out, like, right quick. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to put this over here. 3 of Cups. So we have got a lot of cups happening. What else? Group 2's higher self. What else? Whoa. Another Cups card. That flew out all the way over here. So I'm going to put it down there. I'm not sure if I'm going to take that card, but we're going to see. Ooh. Okay. The Tower reversed. And anything else? Okay. Ooh, the 2 of... Okay. These are flying out all over the place, so it's hard to know where to place these cards. So I'm kind of just going intuitively based on what feels right. So let's see. I'm going to have to move these cards up as usual because we don't have a ton of room. Oh, also, the Sun card is number 20... No, wait. Sorry. It's number 19 in this deck. So, and in most decks, I think pretty much all decks, it's card 19. So 19 might be an important number, or 10, because 1 and 9 simplify to 10, or 1, because 10 simplifies to 1. So 19, 1, 9, and 10 might all be significant numbers to this group. Also, the energy of, like, transitioning from one part of a journey into another, like an ending into a beginning, potentially. Okay. So, well, right away, with that Knight of Cups popping out, I kind of want to move this Hermit. No, we're going to leave it for now. Okay, so right away with that Knight of Cups popping out immediately, and with that Sun card where I highlighted something, an aspect of your life that might require you to be outgoing in some way, I need to move these up because I realize you can't. Yeah, we're just going to have to do it like that. Okay. I said to Group 1, one of these days I'm going to get a setup with a bit more space, but for now this is what we're doing. So, okay. So yeah, with the Knight of Cups, and energy of needing to be more confident and more outgoing, some of you, very specifically, might be looking to make an offer of some kind to someone. And this could be an emotional offer. This could be literally asking someone out. So that's pretty specific, but if that is you, then obviously you'll know. So some of you, that is where you're looking, being asked to have more confidence in yourself and to embrace a more joyful, happy, outgoing aspect of your personality. And it could be that this is a friendship or something like that, because we have the 3 of Cups is a very joyful, fun, friendly card, and it could represent friends as well. So there could be something with friendship that's very important. It could also be, in general, you making a move towards a friend group, or wanting to open up to invite more friendship into your life, whether it's with existing friends that you have, or finding new friends, new people. And of course, it could also be romantic. It could be extending an offer of romance to someone as well, because the Knight of Cups is often what I think about when what comes up when I'm thinking about, like, making a romantic offer to someone. Like, the Knight of Cups is like that card often. But in general, yeah, there's a lot here about joyousness, having fun, tapping into the fun part of yourself, and connecting with someone else or someone's else. Now with the Hermit here, the 2 of Swords, the Tower reversed, and the Page of Cups. Okay, so with the Hermit, so first of all, Yeah, there's definitely some tension potentially here for some of you, between your personal time, you maybe being an introvert, being someone who likes their alone time, and you moving towards potentially more connection out there in the world, either a romantic option or friendship or whatever, what have you. Because with the Hermit here, I feel like it's like, it can be representative of maybe your energy. So maybe you are someone who's not always comfortable being in your like Leo, sunshiny, bright, energetic, outgoing energy. Maybe you are someone who also wants some kind of connection here with others, and so you might be working now to bridge the gap between your more introverted side and your more wanting to be extroverted side, or the side of you, or the part of you that will just need to embrace that momentarily in order to put yourself out there in some kind of social situation or relationship situation. So there might be some of you who are very much conflicted right now between those two parts of yourself, where there's one part of you that really wants to stay in your cave, and there's one part of you that really wants to go out of your cave, even just for like a specific thing. Like I said, there might be just like one specific thing that is outside of that comfort zone for you, where you have to be a bit more outgoing than you're usually used to doing. And for some of you, it might not be that you don't, because some of you might be like going back and forth about this, putting yourself out there in some way, because you're not sure if you truly want that, or if you truly want your solitude, and you feel like you're at a crossroads or at a standstill between like your personal time and your solitude and connecting with others. Like you feel like you can't have both, potentially, or you're not sure how to balance those two things, or you're not sure if those two things can coexist within the same life. And I feel like what this is saying is like, almost like, yes, they can. It's like you don't have to sacrifice whatever is truly you. And I feel like there's an aspect of you for where this energy, this optimism, even this optimistic energy is truly you, right? This is an aspect of your higher self, who you truly are. And embracing this part of you might feel like stepping out of your comfort zone, but it's not going to change who you truly are. It's just you embracing an aspect of who you are that you maybe have not embraced because maybe it got in the way of you being in your comfort zone. And it's like, you need to embrace this tower, because the tower reversed here, I feel like there's a resistance to a sudden or shocking change that might be inevitable. It might be something that has to happen. And or it's looking at a sudden or shocking change that's happened in your life recently and letting that get in the way of your more optimistic nature, which is to your detriment. Because I feel like for some of you, whatever like decision you're trying to make with regards to some kind of offer or connection that you want to pursue, doesn't actually require you to sacrifice who you truly are. It's going to help bring you closer to who you truly are, right? And so the aspects of you that are meant to stay with you and be a part of your life and be part of who you truly are will stay. And anything that's not meant to stay will go, and you will be better off for it because you will be more connected with your true self. And you might be surprised about what actually stays and what goes. And you might be surprised that for some of you, in whatever situation you're looking to make a decision on and enter into, with the Page of Cups here, surprise. You might be surprised to know that you have to sacrifice a lot less of yourself than you thought. And in fact, you don't have to sacrifice any of yourself. Because again, what is meant to fall away will fall away naturally. But the idea is that you're taking a step towards yourself, not away from yourself, right? And so even if it might feel uncomfortable or outside of your comfort zone in the beginning, if it's meant for you, it will become comfortable. It will become part of your life and who you are. And, with this Tower card reversed, it also, I think this is, okay, so I know I said it might be because some of you might have experienced like a sudden change or something in your life that has impacted your outlook a bit negatively. It might be a difficult thing that you're dealing with. And there might be some resistance as well to experiencing sudden changes in your life. But I also feel like this card in reverse is saying like you might be expecting some kind of awful fallout from something that's actually not going to happen. And it's like the Tower card is maybe what you're expecting or what you're worried about happening, like this violent sudden change that like breaks the foundations of your world and makes everything worse, when the Page of Cups is actually what's going to happen. The Page of Cups is, to me, a card of surprise, but it's playful. It's fun surprise. It's like, ooh, the unexpected, but in a fun way. It's a Cups card, you know? It's an emotionally playful card, I feel like. And so the Tower card is this like big turmoil, but the Page of Cups is a nice, light, pleasant surprise. And so I feel like it's simultaneously about your expectations and your perspective on a situation. So sometimes you can approach a situation as like a big, huge tragedy, when if you just shift your perspective, it's actually like not that big of a deal. Like it's not that deep. Like you can actually be lighter about it, go with the flow and take it more in stride. But also it might be that you have these big catastrophizing thoughts about what is going to happen if you make this move that are projecting really extreme events onto a situation that haven't happened and in all likelihood aren't going to happen. And this Page of Cups here is saying, take that chance. You might be surprised. And in fact, you probably will be surprised about where it leads you. So yeah, basically, TLDR, your higher self is saying, is asking you to put yourself out there in a way that might not be fully comfortable to you, but also it will ultimately be a step towards yourself rather than a step away from yourself. And it's asking you to be open to pleasant surprises rather than the absolute worst of the worst that could possibly happen. Because I think for a lot of you, your indecision might be centered around catastrophizing. Again, really ruminating on the worst possible case scenarios and refusing to look at maybe, or just having trouble looking at the more positive scenarios to neutral even scenarios, or even the best possible scenarios. And this is saying, you don't have to get too extreme in the other direction, but you're being very extreme in the negative direction, and that's not within the realms of reality either. Something more measured would be to have a lighter heart about it and to be open to something that's a pleasant surprise. It's at least happier or more neutral than like this, because this is all in your head, right? This is what you're making it out to be, but it hasn't happened yet, you know? It hasn't happened at all. And chances are the things that are going to happen in your life will actually play out in a very different way from what you imagined. Whether you imagined wonderful things or you imagined bad things, the things that actually happen will probably turn out a bit different than what happened in your head. And yeah, I feel so. I just heard you are emotionally prepared to handle whatever comes your way, but also it's probably not going to be whatever this you're imagining is at all. And be open to this Page of Cups, this pleasant surprise, this like lighthearted approach to whatever you're putting yourself out there into. Yeah, there's a lot of playfulness here. There's a lot of joy here. And again, a bit of extroversion, a bit of a need to be optimistic, because that's already part of who you are. That optimism, that joy, that lightheartedness. And I think there's some heaviness that you need to release. Because I was actually just, and I've heard other readers say this, like they'll like burp a little bit during a reading or whatever, like release some air, and like that's energy being released. And that was just kind of happening to me, just like sort of quietly. I experienced a little bit of that, and I realized like, yeah, I think that's you releasing some of this negative energy. Some of this energy that, again, it's like rumination, it's in your head, it's not real. And moving towards a more optimistic perspective and taking this chance that your higher self is like really excited about, because again, whatever happens is bringing you closer to who you truly are, and that is going to be for the best for you, because your higher self is you. And so remember, your higher self has the higher perspective on these things, and it's really excited for you, I feel like. So yeah, now I'm going to just ask if there's a quote or two that your higher self wants to take the opportunity to share with you to cap off this reading. And yeah, also with the Page of Cups, I want to say, I'm going to keep talking as I shuffle. And with the Sun card here, there is an aspect of like tapping into your like playful, childish side, like your kid self who just wants to have a little fun, you know, and like let yourself be a little spontaneous, let yourself be a little out there and silly and fun, and that energy will help you in whatever you're looking to do here. Okay, so group 2's higher self. Any quotes that you want to cap this reading off with? Any further messages? Any additional clarification here? Anything? Cool. Yeah, let's take that. And then I'm gonna just shuffle up the second half of this pile here. But already with that image on that card of this treasure chest with the sparkles coming out, without even reading the quote, I mean, just looking at that, it's like, yeah, being open to a beautiful surprise, like opening a chest, being willing to open Pandora's box and expect wonders instead of horrors inside, right? Yeah. Or at least being open to the idea that that's part of the experience and moving into a more optimistic perspective. Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay. So we'll take these two. So we have this treasure chest, like I said, opening the box and seeing what might be inside. That might be wonderful. And then the quote we have is, "If we are open only to discoveries which will accord with what we know already, we may as well stay shut." And this is from The Wisdom of Insecurity from Alan Watts. So yeah, this definitely requires some kind of opening of your mind. And I do feel like it's an opening of your mind to, like, the discoveries that you want to open yourself to are discoveries of things that you haven't imagined yet, that the idea that the outcome of some kind of situation that you want to put yourself out there in might even be something that you haven't imagined, that you haven't come across yet in your life, that your outcome in whatever you're endeavoring to do will look different than what you've imagined, and it will also look different than maybe what you've seen happen around you in your life. Yeah, optimism. Being open to things that you haven't experienced yet. Being open to new ways of seeing the world and engaging with the world that I think in this case are much more optimistic than what the headspace that you might be in right now, or that maybe you've been in for a while, depending on, you know, what your situation is. We also have this card with the heart on it, and it says, "I think you know how to love better than any of us. That's why you find it all so painful." And this is from Fleabag, the TV show. Fleabag quote also came out in group 1, so might be significant. But yeah, and this is, I think, your higher self acknowledging that part of you feels, you know, very vulnerable, and you have so much to give in your heart. You have so much joy and happiness and love, and you might have been shut down to this for a while because maybe you've experienced some kind of heartbreak. Group 1 also, like, I feel like these two readings are kind of interrelated, even though they're a bit different. They might be both resonating for some of you. But like, yeah, there's this feeling of like you have a lot of love to give. You have a lot to give in general. And maybe for some of you, you've tried to give it in the past or tried to open yourself up and you got hurt and then you shut it down. And what you might be looking to do is open yourself back up a bit, and you're having some trouble doing that without letting some of these really catastrophizing thoughts get in your way, feeling like what already happened in the past is going to happen again in the future. And yeah, for some of you, it's like it has to do with connecting with other people, maybe making an offer in a relationship, or opening up to friendships of some kind. It could really be about that, and opening yourself up emotionally in some way, making yourself vulnerable. And this is saying like your capacity to love, and the part of you that has been hurt in the past because you were so open to love, is beautiful, and opening that back up again is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And it's acknowledging that there has been pain around that and that it might be scary to do that again, but it's going to bring you closer to your full capacity for joy and love, and you are not the same person you were when you first experienced whatever you experienced back then. You have grown, you have changed, and you are still growing and changing and learning, and you are more capacity to take care of yourself through your vulnerable moments and to balance your vulnerability with the ability to be there for yourself. Group 1 might be significant, being there for yourself, big theme. But also your higher self is you, and they are there for you. And they know because they are, past, present, future version of you. They know that this is worth it. And they want you to know that as well. And they also see your beautiful heart. And they love you because they are you. And they know you better than anyone. So, yeah. I hope you do get to open yourself up to a more optimistic perspective. I hope you get to take whatever step that you're looking to take here, and put yourself out there a bit and open your heart again. Some of you, this is really what that's about, in some way. So, yeah. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to wrap it up here. And if you enjoyed that, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Would love that. That would be amazing. I'd love to hear how this resonated if you want to comment below. Also, if you're interested in any of our tarot, human design, or hypnosis services, we have a website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. I'll link that in the description. You can check that out. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hello, and welcome to your reading. If you selected this purple stone and this green stone, then you are in the right place. This is group 3, so if you selected group 3, welcome to your reading. Today's reading, as I said in the intro, is all about talking to your higher self. We're going to get a message from your higher self, whatever wants to come through, whatever they want to talk about. And I also mentioned in the intro what I consider your higher self to be, just in case you're not familiar with the concept. It's kind of like your soul self, your soul essence, or the part of you that is a little bit beyond the physical realm. So the part of you that has perspective on your past, present, and future, and has a higher view of your entire life that you might not have in your day-to-day. And also like the most authentic, truest version of you that sometimes you feel more connected with and sometimes you might feel less connected with. But for all intents and purposes, it is you. It is a part of you. And so we're really talking to you today. And seeing if there's anything that this version of you, which is you also, wants to talk about. So I'm going to start by pulling one of these cards from the Mary L. Tarot deck to get a card to represent an aspect of your true authentic self that your higher self wants to bring to your attention, that perhaps they want you to tap into or acknowledge, or just to highlight to you. And this could be like an energy that you want to embody or that you are embodying, or just an aspect of you that they want to highlight as important. So that's where we're going to start, and then we're going to get into messages. We're going to get other cards. So, and I might be speaking a little quieter in this reading because someone is napping, so in this house, so we're all just being quiet. So don't mind me. Hopefully you can still hear me just fine. But let's start. So group 3's higher self. What aspect? Ooh, okay. That was fast. Perfect. Okay, so we have the Emperor card. So the Emperor is the 4th major arcana, associated with the number 4, associated with the sign of Aries. My card. So hello, any Aries out there who might be watching. Could be confirmation for you. But it is also, the Emperor card is the manifestation of like the divine masculine energy, like the energy of taking the creative energies of the Empress and putting order to them, putting rules to them and helping ground them in the physical, at least to my understanding. So fire signs are also associated with this. Also, just in general, the concepts of stability, control, leadership, but in a healthy way, right? In a way that's beneficial to all, not in a tyrannical way. That would be the Emperor reversed. But Emperor upright, I feel like there's a very strong, solid energy that your spirit, well, I said your spirit team, I meant your higher self, but maybe your spirit team is here too. I do ask for anyone who might be of help to come through to bring this to you, but I think that they want to highlight this as an important aspect of yourself, this very stable, controlled but healthy energy, this feeling of like, also this feeling of, because this Emperor in particular in this deck always reminds me of the King of Swords, because I think he kind of looks like the King of Swords in this deck, but also he's got this sword here. And also I'm being drawn to the dragonfly on his head, which, you know, I don't actually always notice, but dragonflies have been coming up a lot for me lately. I actually have a funny story about having a dragonfly necklace that my twin sister and I both have one now that match, because they were like randomly delivered to our house and we couldn't find who they were supposed to be delivered to, so now we just have these necklaces. And then like shortly after we started wearing them, because we couldn't find who they actually belonged to, we've had them for a couple of years. Like my family just like dug them out and was like, oh, do you guys want these? And after that, then we actually had a few encounters with some dragonflies. So dragonfly is maybe a really important animal, like guide for you right now. This could be also a message for me, which is fun. I always take some of the things that come through in readings as relevant to me as well, because some of the stuff that I'm saying, I'm saying it and I'm like, this is something that I should be paying attention to also. So, you know, because some of the stuff I'm saying, I'm not saying it necessarily because I've already mastered it, but it's just what's coming to mind. It's just what's coming out. It's just what, you know, what wants to come through. And, you know, sometimes it's what I need to hear also. So I will be paying extra attention. But, yeah, dragonfly might be really significant to you. You might want to look into that animal. You might want to look into, they're pretty cool. They're pretty weird. They're pretty funky creatures. Fascinating. So you might want to look up, like, what they mean as a spirit animal totem, or whatever you feel comfortable calling it. And also these fish on the sword might be significant as well, so take that as it resonates. But yeah, and for some of you, perhaps this is also your higher self wanting to highlight you stepping into your more masculine energy, or working with your masculine energy, or becoming more aware of your masculine energy, no matter what gender you are, of course. It's the idea that masculine and feminine are two sides of the same coin, and that we all have both energies within us, and that they're not as much of a both as they are a whole together, like, you know, like the yin yang kind of thing. So that's definitely being highlighted for you, masculine energy, for sure. Yeah, just confidence, being really solid in yourself, being in control, being a leader. Yeah. So let's get now some cards to elaborate on this, and perhaps see if there's anything else that your higher self wants to highlight and bring to your attention. And I will say with the Emperor too, the Emperor is someone who is very stable, but, you know, this Emperor, he's usually depicted as an older man. So someone who spent time building up their stability, building up their foundations. So maybe for a lot of you, you've been doing that, or you're just getting started doing that. And sometimes in those early days, it's hard to see how you're ever going to get here, how you're ever going to become that Emperor and be fully in charge of your fate and feel fully in control and feel like you're stable and grounded. And this is wanting to highlight the fact that it's a journey that takes time, but you become this Emperor through putting in that time, right? So anything that you're putting time into, that you're taking the time to build stable and solid foundations for, that energy is not being wasted. That's perfect. That's exactly what you're meant to be doing. And so for those of you who are really focused on that kind of thing right now, whether it's building a business, building, your own mental and physical health, building a family, building a career, whatever you're doing, projects that you're doing, or just maybe your overall demeanor and lifestyle that you're really revamping and working on and putting in that regular, steady progress and focus, they're saying this is worth it. This is what it's all building to, even if you don't see it come to fruition right away. Like, you're in it for the long haul. You're not someone who is here to just get things done, like cut corners, get things done really fast, maybe rush things. You're here to build something real solid and stable that will last into the future, and that will possibly even leave a legacy behind. So that might be really significant for a lot of you, and to help encourage you to keep going, no matter where you are in this journey. So group 3's higher self. What additional messages do you have? I didn't talk about the items so much in the other groups. The reason that there are 2, I'll probably, because I have to re-record the intro, I think, so I'll probably explain more in the intro, but the reason there are 2 items is because group 1 seemed to really want 2 items, so then I just took 2 items for everyone. But I really noticed for this group, like, this combination here really makes me think of spring, the green and the purple, like flowers growing up through the grass, like irises specifically. So irises could be significant, flowers could be significant, and spring could be significant. Again, Aries, if y'all are Aries here as well. Spring season is our season, but also in general, or any sign that you are, could be in spring, or just spring could be really important for you. Spring also comes before the summer, so a lot of times, like, flowers start blooming in spring, so you start seeing signs of progress, but then also you're planting seeds and you're preparing for the harvest in summer. So for some of you, maybe you're in that spring season and you're planting the seeds, and so that could be part of whatever you're building. Also, we got a card here, the King of Cups, so I'm going to put this out over here. All right, so group 3's higher self, thank you. What other cards? Ooh, okay. And what other messages do you have? Wow, okay. And any other cards that you have? Any other messages that you want to bring through for group 3? Group 3's higher self. Oh, that's too many. I'm going to take this one, though. Okay. Group 3's higher self. Any other cards? A lot of cards keep almost flipping out, and then... Okay. Yeah, I'll take all 3 of these. All right. Now, look at that. Look at that. Oh, the Emperor is a really significant card for you guys right now. Look at that. I'm going to put him over here just so you can see, because that's so cool. That's so cool. All right. So we got a lot of... Let's see. So when I've been doing this spread, it's been kind of hard for me to figure out the best ways to place these cards. Okay. You know what? We're going to do it like this. We're going to do it like this, because this is kind of what's feeling the best right now, and that's just what I'm going with. Okay, because these cards, they all came out at the same time, so we're going to keep them together down here. All right, so I'm going to have to move them up, though. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. So we have the King of Cups, we have the Ten of Cups. Those both came out first and separate, so I put them over here. We had the Page of Pentacles and the Moon reversed, and then we have the Page of Wands reversed, Seven of Pentacles reversed, and the Empress reversed. And you have the Empress out here too, in the reverse, but still, this is so interesting. Okay. So first of all, with the King of Cups coming out in the upright, and then the Ten of Cups over here, some of you are definitely building a family of stuff, like you want to build like a legacy or something for your family, but also, if it's not specifically family, just your overall long-term emotional fulfillment, that is what you're working on. And it could be in the physical realm of like what you're building physically, but I feel like there's also an emotional component. Like you're paying attention to your emotional well-being and your emotional stability, and you're building that up, which is bringing you this emotional fulfillment that is really wonderful. And I feel like this is a continued encouragement to say, keep going, keep doing whatever you're doing, keep taking the steps, because even if you don't feel it yet, you're on your way there. And for some of you, you might actually already be starting to feel like emotionally fulfilled, feeling more secure in yourself, feeling better about yourself, and maybe you just haven't seen a lot of stuff manifest yet in your reality around you to reflect that, but you're still feeling better already. You're already in that better emotional, mental headspace, whatever it is. And this is saying like, yes, perfect. You're already bringing this energy, and then it will also naturally follow that the rest of your reality will mirror that, will reflect that back to you. And we have this Page of Pentacles here. So I feel like some of you are really at the beginning still of your process. This is saying like you've made progress and you are on the right path, and you're still somewhat at the beginning. So it's only going to get better from here. It's actually just what came up, which is pretty cool. Now with the Page of Wands reversed, the Seven of Pentacles reversed, and the Empress reversed, there could be some impatience. So this could just be letting you know that impatience, that's a natural thing. We all feel it from time to time, but it's letting you know to not get stuck on impatience, to not get held up there, to keep pushing forward, to keep moving forward. Because the Page of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles reversed in particular, I mean, to me, the Page of Wands is a fiery energy. So it's a bit more active, a bit more fast moving than the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles is, Pentacles are the slowest suit, they're earth. And that's like foundation, like stable ground. So I feel like with the Page of Pentacles, it's saying don't rush things. Keep steadily moving forward, and also be aware that, again, you are only at the start. It's only going to get easier from here. It's only going to move up from here. The Page of Wands being more fiery and impulsive and a bit more immature, I feel like, although all the pages can be a bit immature, depending on, the reading. With the Page of Wands, it's just encouraging you to not shift too far into like impulsivity, impatience, pushing ahead out of like immaturity, just like noticing when those things kind of arise in you, but not acting on them, right? Embodying a more patient, slow but steady energy. And with the Seven of Pentacles reversed too, I often get impatience with that as well. And so I feel like that's really reinforcing the idea that perhaps you're not seeing the fruits of your labor yet, but it's coming. You have to let it happen. You have to keep going even when you're not seeing the results immediately in front of your eyes. And with the Empress reversed as well, I mean, for some of you, this could be like about not seeing the physical manifestation of like a counterpart in your life who, if you want to build a family with, there's been like messages about partnerships in like every reading so far. So I don't know if this is all like focused on that. Maybe your higher selves are really focused on that, but also like it could be something about okay, so it could be something as well about, for some of you, this masculine aspect is being highlighted because your higher self really wants you to step more into your masculine. So be active, take action, move forward, and maybe you have been maybe there's been some things that have been out of balance where you've been more in your feminine energy, but it's time for you to move into your masculine, take those action steps, move forward. For others of you, maybe you've been a little bit more in your masculine energy and not enough in your feminine energy, and you need to flow with that more. You need to, if there's one side of you that you're rejecting, you should know which it is. So if you're more comfortable taking action and pushing things forward and you get uncomfortable with resting and allowing the creativity to flow and being like less structured and trusting your intuition and trusting the universe, to work with you, taking that action and then taking a step back when you feel like it's time to rest, to recharge, and let things come to you and receive. So if you're more comfortable with giving than receiving, if you're more comfortable with taking action than you are with resting, then you might be more in your masculine energy, and that might be out of balance with your feminine energy, and you might want to, you definitely want to work on that, to get comfortable with both, right? Balance both out so you have both parts of yourself. So it depends. Take it as it resonates. It'll depend on which you feel is more out of balance, or if you feel like you are in balance, and you're just more in like an action taking phase right now. That's up to you and your intuition. And with the moon reversed over here, I feel like that's about releasing fears and accepting confusion, or accepting the unknown, accepting the moving through fear or confusion, specifically pertaining maybe to the future and feeling like the path might not always be clear, not always seeing how things are going to shake out in the way that will be most beneficial to you, but trusting that it is and that it will, because there's definitely, when we're building something, especially when we're building something that's like a long-term, that takes time. Maybe for some of you are building a long-term relationship. Like you might be in one or just starting one where you're looking to build something long-term and be committed. And there might still be fears and confusion and like, is this the right person? Is this the right situation? Am I ready for this? And it's like moving through that. And that could go for anything if that's not your specific scenario, but I think it's just accepting that parts of the process are going to be confusing, honestly, at times. And getting used to not reacting to the feeling of confusion with fear, but just noticing it and recognizing that sometimes when you're getting super confused, it's because you're all up in your head and you need to take a moment to step back and not think too hard about it. Not think too hard about it. Don't overthink it. But take a step back, and instead of trying to force things to make sense in the moment, let the sense in the reality around you reveal itself to you over time. That's an interesting message. Okay. Yeah. But overall, I feel like for a lot of you, you are really on this path already, and you're making a lot of progress building something long-lasting, something solid, something long-term, that is both taking place within you and in your outer world. And for a lot of you, you might still be very much at the beginning of this journey, and this is assuring you that I think for a lot of you, it's like you are building foundations, yes. So you have to be patient with that process and trust that this time and effort and work that you're putting in now is going to pay off later by being a solid foundation that you can build your empire on. However, I also feel like for a lot of you, you are already more solid than you think. Like you already have, maybe you've built more of a foundation than you're even aware of. And so maybe things are even getting ready to take off a lot sooner than you expect. But I want to emphasize when I say that, to not have don't hold too tight to any specific expectations, especially around the timing of things. Let things flow, and don't get too caught up in like when things are supposed to happen, putting time frames on things, because it'll make it easier for you if something doesn't fit exactly into a time frame you had imagined, but it's still making progress, it's still moving along. It'll be easier for you to keep going with it, and instead of just scrapping something, because I think for a lot of you it's very important, like commitment to the goal, slow and steady progress, and just commitment, because like this Emperor, You know, he doesn't get where he is by, like, starting something and then throwing it away as soon as it gets a little hard, or throwing it away as soon as it's, like, not taking off as fast as he thought it would. You know, he stays with it. He sticks to his guns. He sticks to his vision, even if the steps to get there take him in directions he didn't expect. He doesn't get shaken up by that, right? He continues to build his foundations. And I feel like a lot of you are already in that energy or really moving there and making good progress there. And this is just saying, keep going, you know, keep going, keep trusting, which is great. It feels really great. And I'm pulling some quote cards now as I'm talking. So that's what I'm doing to get additional messages. But yeah. Okay. Ooh, yep. Okay. Anything else from this pile? Group 3's higher self. Anything else? Or, okay, I'll move on to the other pile. I didn't get too many for the other groups, but I did shuffle both decks, so anything? Okay. Okay, you guys are getting more than I wanted, but we're going to take them. All right, so we have first this card, which says, I was taught if we're born with love, then life is about choosing the right place to put it. People talk about that a lot, it feeling right. When it feels right, it's easy. But I'm not sure that's true. It takes strength to know what's right, and love isn't something that weak people do. Being romantic takes a hell of a lot of hope. I think what they mean is, when you find somebody that you love, it feels like hope. And this is from Fleabag, the hot priest in season 2 is the one who says this. Fleabag is a TV show if you're not familiar. And, wow. Okay, so yeah, definitely that concept of trusting that even if something isn't smooth sailing all the way through, even if it's not rainbows and puppies and flowers all the time, that doesn't automatically mean it's not for you. That doesn't automatically mean it's not the right path. That there's power in moving through that journey, committing to that journey, and building and working on it, working on the foundations, working through whatever comes up on your path to shape it, form it, mold it into a solid, steady thing that will be part of your life forever. And that could be, you know, for some of you, this really could genuinely literally be about a relationship. And maybe the idea of like, is this the right person? Is this the life I want to build? Is this the right path? And it's saying that if you aren't 100% sure getting started, and if things don't just fall into place magically, perfectly, immediately, that is not necessarily a bad thing. Look, obviously, if a person or relationship really isn't going to work out, the universe won't let it work out, and also you'll be able to tell if something is like bad. Like obviously, like sometimes relationships are destructive, right? Not constructive, and that's really important here. So if something isn't perfect immediately, if things don't just fall into place, if you have to do some inner work and outer work to get something to a place where you want it to be, there's value in that journey, and it doesn't mean that the thing is wrong for you or the person is wrong for you. What it might mean is that the version of you that you're growing into, that you're tapping into, that you're becoming, that you want to be, is on the other side of some work that you have to do on yourself, and the other person is there to help you do it. And they might be also doing their own work and working towards building the same kind of future as you, even if neither of you are there right now. It's kind of the idea that both of you have to be willing to build together, to construct together, to be constructive rather than destructive. So if something comes along on your path that's destructive rather than constructive, then you can tell the difference between what's working for you and what's working against you. Now, I will say sometimes something that's destructive can help you construct something, if what's destructive destroys something in your life that was wrong, that was incorrect, that was not built on solid foundations. Like, right? This is all about building foundations. So if like, say a relationship, for example, isn't on solid foundations, it will fall apart. Like, it will fall apart eventually. But if you're building a solid foundation, and if, the other person is also dedicated to building a solid foundation, you'll get a solid foundation and you'll be able to work through and process anything that comes your way. So it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows and ponies, but it will be something where ultimately you can work through it and you'll come out stronger. And if you know that's not happening in a situation that you're in, then letting that fall apart, that being destructive, is actually good, because you want to build solid foundations in the right place with the right people in the right circumstance. So you can let the thing that is not solid fall apart and try something new, try something different, and keep going until you find the right foundation. Like the right place, the right person, the right situation. You know what I mean? And I say this, I don't think a lot of people in this group have to worry right now that they're not in the right place. Because I also think that even if a relationship or an endeavor isn't your forever person or situation, it can still contribute to building up your foundation and building up your path in the right direction. So I feel like a lot of you, whatever you're working on right now, as long as it feels like the right direction, even if it's not always easy, I would say keep going with it. Keep growing through it. And make sure you're focused on that whatever happens in the situation, you're growing, right? You're growing, you're moving more towards the person you want to be, etc. And if there's a time that comes when whatever it is you're working on or whatever relationship you're in, etc., is just not serving that growth anymore, like you've passed that point, you'll know, and it'll fall out of your life. You'll be able to let it go and move on to the next thing. And or it might be the thing that you work on for the rest of your life, or a long portion of your life, and you just kind of have to go with that and trust that and not get too caught up in, but will this still be around? Oh, okay. Oh, it's like, I feel like for some of you, some of the confusion and fear that you might be experiencing is around a vision of your future that you have that feels reliant on the expectations that you have as the person that you are right now. But your higher self wants to highlight that the person that you are right now is not the person that you're going to be in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, etc. So whatever happens in your life down the line, you will be a different person. So even if a relationship did end, when it ends, you will be a different person than you are right now. So you will experience it differently than the person you are right now would experience it. And you will be able to handle it in the way that a person of that wisdom that you will have, because you are growing and learning and building your foundations, you'll be able to handle it better than you might think that you would in the moment. Because you're building yourself into that person who's stable and sturdy on their own 2 feet, right? Or you'll just move through challenges in a relationship that you might concoct in your head better than you think that you would, because you're not that person yet, but you're building yourself. You're becoming that person, right? So projecting into the future and trying to account for how you'll respond to any kind of twist or turn that your path might take can actually really destabilize you, because you're coming at it from your current perspective when it's not happening right now. And if something like that happens in your future, you'll handle it differently in ways that you might not even have access to at the moment, because you'll have grown into that person, right? So getting too far ahead of yourself can cause too much confusion and fear, because you feel like you need to know how to handle everything when you're not that person yet, you're not there yet. And again, your higher self is part of you and is a version of you that's more tapped in and able to see things from a bigger perspective. So maybe connecting, like actively doing meditations or things to connect with your higher self, can help assuage some of your fears, can help you stay present in this moment as who you are and keep moving forward, committing to your path. I feel like just commitment and steady progress is the biggest thing for everyone in this group right now. And trusting that you're becoming this person, and every step that you take is not necessarily going to be easy, especially in the beginning, but you're building the momentum. You're becoming this person, and the progress that you're making and any discomfort that you have to feel along the way, because you're going out of your comfort zone, you're growing, you're transforming into this emperor, right? This person who's had all this experience. You're building that now, and it's going to be a beautiful story for you to have. That's your life story, that you've built all this, but you just have to keep going, right? And believing that that's what's happening every step of the way. Let's get into the next quote, actually. So we have this twisty, windy image, which immediately it's just like the twists and turns in your path, right? Like taking those twists and turns and flowing with that. And we have, it's the job that's never started as takes longest to finish, from The Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. And I don't remember the original context of the quote, but yeah, okay. Yeah, it's just kind of like commit, do it, do it. Start the job and trust that you will figure it out along the way. Basically. Easy. Simple. We also have, this is perfect. We have Perspective is a goddamn son of a bitch from the Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and Perspective is wonderful from Anne with an E. And the wonderful thing about this card is that when I was making it, I had written all these quotes down, and I had like tons and tons, and I was just pulling them out of like the bucket, and then making these quote cards out of them, just like one after the other. And I pulled this quote, and then I was like, I don't know if I'll make this card yet. But then the second quote I pulled was this quote out of a bucket of so many of them, and I was like, oh my god, that's so funny. Because obviously Perspective is a goddamn son of a bitch and Perspective is wonderful are both illustrating together exactly what they're saying. It's just so beautiful how that came together. I love it. Because it's like two different perspectives on perspective. It's so great. It's so great. This is about perspective, right? So first of all, the idea that the you of the future that you're projecting into will have a different perspective than the you who is projecting into that future, right? So basically encouraging you not to project too much into the future as you are right now, because you can't know what your perspective will be when you're that person, and you're not that person yet. And also the idea that you can choose your perspective, and you can choose to look back on your perspective and be like, wow, I wish I knew that. I was so stupid. I was, the past, was bad, whatever, blah, blah. Or you can be like, wow, I'm so glad I'm the person I am right now. It's wonderful to have some perspective. Also, in the context of this Perspective is wonderful quote, it happens in an episode of Anne with an E where she just has like a day where like a lot of things just go wrong for her, and she's just miserable, and she's a very emotionally expressive person, and so she's just like so down on herself and everything, just like one of those days where just everything keeps going wrong. And then she takes a hot air balloon ride with her adoptive parents, and looking down on the village below, she's like, wow, everything's so small, and she feels like her problems too that felt so big earlier in the day feel so small as well. And she realizes that, wow, I've got a sense of perspective where I've just risen above everything, and I feel better about everything because everything feels so small, like the things that once seemed significant and important and like they were everything now seem like nothing. So perspective is wonderful because now I don't feel so caught up in my own personal woes or the problems that I thought were so big anymore. And so for some of you, just like shifting your perspective just like that, getting out of your head, zooming out, seeing the bigger picture, and being at peace with that, and trusting that anything that seems like a huge problem right now, you remember being in school and having to take a test and feeling like, oh my god, like I have to take this test tomorrow. It's like the end of the world. I'm so nervous. I didn't study enough. Like this is the worst. And you like are so anxious over it. And then you take the test and, you pass, you fail, whatever you do. But 15 years later, you're like thinking back to high school, like, do you remember every test that you took? Like, chances are no, because what seemed like such a big deal then is literally nothing now, and it doesn't have to have any bearing on your life anymore, you know, and you probably don't even think about it. And it's being able to take that kind of perspective into your day-to-day life consistently and let yourself let go of things, and move through things and move past things that will not always be, like, this too shall pass. Whatever is in your way right now will not always be there, and you will not always be the person that you are today. You'll be someone completely new who looks at things completely differently and might not even see a problem where you see a problem today, right? So it's letting yourself just trust that you are evolving into that person, and thus you become that person, right, in the moment. Then we have this quote: "Death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveler returns," from Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Well, yeah, so death is something that helps give people perspective, right? Recognizing that that's where we're all headed one day. And not to give anyone an existential crisis, but the more at peace you can become with the transience of life, the endings and beginnings of the seasons, and the inevitability of death and moving on to the, you know, whatever's next, the more you can sort of take life lightly, but also, you know, go for what you want to do. Like, follow your heart. Realize that it's not worth worrying over and, like, throwing away your life's dreams over small things that actually aren't that meaningful in the face of what you truly want to do with your life, in the face of truly enjoying your life and living it to the fullest extent. And so just remembering every so often, like, I think in Buddhism, like, they have a phrase that means, like, remember death, right? Like, every day, just remember that that's an aspect of life. And so, you know, do the thing, right? Do what you want. And also make sure that in every moment you're enjoying yourself, right? Like, enjoy your time while you have it. And take things lightly, and yet also take things seriously, in that you take your dreams seriously, you take your enjoyment of life seriously, and you don't let anything get in the way of that. And then we have this card with: "We are game-playing, fun-having creatures. We are the otters of the universe," from Illusions by Richard Bach. Yeah, so, yeah, there's something about, like, being playful about your journey, just going for it, just doing it, and any quote-unquote obstacles or things that might come along the way are part of the game. And if you can be playful about things, if you can shift your perspective about things, it'll help you just keep pushing forward, keep moving forward, and also enjoy yourself along the way. Like, I think that's a big thing too, is inviting more enjoyment into the process, being playful about it, letting go of specific expectations, but trusting that whatever is to come will be for the best, and be for your best, and also be fun and enjoyable. And, you know, whatever comes along your path, you can make the most of it. You can make the most of it. Yeah, I feel like this is a really overall very positive vibe, very positive message. Like, I mean, all of them have been, but, and these generally are, but I also feel like for a lot of you, you're already on this path and you're doing a great job, and maybe just from time to time you need this reminder to take things lightly, but also to stay committed, and also to let things shake out and not get too caught up in things like day-to-day obstacles, little quibbles, things that maybe aren't so important but feel important in the moment, you know, to allow yourself to develop emotionally through those things and learn what you can let go and what you might need to work through. And just take that as part of the process. And you're doing a great job. You're building a wonderful foundation. You're this emperor, you know, you're really solid in yourself, and sometimes you just might need a little reminder here or there. And so maybe you can build that into your practice as well, where, you know, you have a regular practice of, I don't know, listing reasons why, your life is great. Gratitude journaling, things like that. Sometimes if if you have tarot readers that you like and they have videos that are geared towards, what's so great about you? Like, why are you awesome? Like, what amazing things are happening in your life? Like, that can be, a good vibe to just help you feel good about things. Take things lightly and just lighten your energy, lighten your mood, and feel more confident, and encourage you to just keep going. Just keep swimming. Okay. Yeah, cool. We're going to end it there. And good job. Good luck on your path. I feel like a lot of this message is also for me. So I feel very encouraged by this as well. So I hope you do too. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you would like. Especially comment. Like, I would love to know if this resonated, how this resonated, and what you think. And if you're interested, we do offer tarot, hypnosis, and human design services on sunflowerphilosophy.com. I'll link that in the description so you can check that out if you want. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 4. If you selected this red stone with like gold flecks and this star tiger's eye pendant, then you are in the right place. And this is your reading, which is going to be a message from your higher self. So, as I'm sure I described in the intro, your higher self, at least to my understanding, is something like your soul essence, or like part of who you truly are, your most authentic expression of yourself, and also the part of you that exists with outside of our current reality of like time and space and such. So they have a broader perspective on your past, present, and future. And they are also you. So like basically we are talking to you, and they're a part of you that you might feel and like they are you, and you might feel more connected with this version of yourself at times than others, at some times rather than others, but like you are this person, right? It's just connecting with that higher perspective, right? And so that's who we're talking to today. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle up these cards and pull a card to represent an aspect of yourself, your higher self, whatever wants to come through that your higher self wants to highlight and perhaps wants you to embody or focus on, or just to highlight about you. And then we'll get some messages from the cards and see what they want to talk about. So yeah. Perspective. That was important in just the last reading, but I think it's important for all the readings today, because I feel like the whole point of really connecting with your higher self is to get a higher perspective on your life, and to see things from like a bigger picture. So, Group 4's higher self. Group 4's higher self. What aspect of Group 4 do you want to highlight? Okay. We have the 8 of Wands. Ooh. Very orange. Very fiery. And that kind of goes with the stones. I feel like there's a lot of fire energy in this group. With the wands, with the stones here, the red and gold, and the tiger's eye. With the lion here, courage, with the tiger's eye as well. Like, courage and action. I mean, 8 of Wands in the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's like these 8 wands shooting off into the sky. And so it's like, yeah, there's some like swift action or an aspect of you that has a lot of energy, a lot of drive, a lot of creativity and passion that can move you. And I feel like you're being called to tap into that, embrace that, and perhaps also this is something that's a confirmation for you if you feel like that's where you've been, or that's who you are, or that's something that you are being called upon to do for a certain goal. Like, there might be something that you're aiming for this group, like a specific goal that you have. But I also want to point out a few other things. In this deck in particular, we have this lion who's like sort of cradling this person down here. Maybe child, I'm not sure. So I feel like there's also okay. So for a lot of you, it also might be helpful to envision and recognize your higher self. I feel like your higher self is this lion that is cradling and protecting you. Like you, yes, you are within your higher self, right? And so they are a part of you, but they're also like around you. Like it's reminding me of, there's this reading that my mom got for me once from someone who like basically was speaking with my higher self, and what I was told by my higher self was to, anytime I was feeling overwhelmed, because I can feel very overwhelmed just around other people in general, like I'm very sensitive and I take in a lot of stuff. And so they were saying, like, when you're feeling overwhelmed, imagine yourself like within our energy. Imagine that, like, you know, I or we are around you, like enveloping you, encapsulating you, and that you're protected in that way. And so, you know, I don't always remember that, and I probably should. But I feel like that is almost like the message that your higher self wants to give to you. And that's why that's coming up for me, is they want you to know that they are around you, always protecting you, with you. They are you, but also you are within them, kind of. And like, so that can help you feel safer and maybe more grounded and maybe more connected with this aspect of yourself, if you are to imagine that and visualize that and feel that. And it might help you feel safer. It might help you feel a little bit less overwhelmed as well, if you find yourself feeling that way often. Also, in this specific deck, these cards have somewhat different meanings from the Rider-Waite-Smith. They're like more occult kind of oriented interpretations. So I'm just going to look at the book too and just see some of the words that are related to this card. So we have actually here, something unknown or forgotten about yourself awakening, trust, and keep going even if your efforts seem ineffective. Yeah, there's a lot about truth, about awareness, about just keeping the faith, keeping going. And that's interesting because it's very similar to the previous group. I feel like every group today has been quite similar or had themes that sort of build on each other. And yet the messages come out in different ways and the energy is different. Like it's speaking to people who maybe have different perspectives or in different parts of a journey, but yet I can see how they all connect. And this one is especially feeling like it's connecting with the last one in the sense of like that aspect of perseverance, to keep going. I feel like in this one, it's also more about swift action though, like swift movement, like a bit more impulsive. Whereas I feel like the previous group was a bit more about slow and steady progress, building foundations. This is about swift and direct movement. Not necessarily impulsive, but directed and consistent, but maybe a bit more, like a bit less calculated and a bit more just going for it, right? But we'll see as well when we get into the cards. So let's get some tarot cards and see what your higher self really wants to talk about, what messages they have for you today. So, Group 4's higher self. What do you want to talk to them about? What do you want to talk to Group 4 about? What do you want to bring through today? Group 4's higher self. Ooh, almost popped out. Group 4's higher self. Okay. Group 4's higher self. Okay. Group 4's higher self. Interesting. That one fell on the floor. Let's see. In every group I have to like figure out the best way to... Ooh. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. For some reason, is there anything else? I'm just going to shuffle one more time. Okay. You know what we're going to do? We're going to put this. So this flipped over but didn't fall out. I'm going to leave it on the bottom of the deck. The Ten of Wands. And we'll see if that comes in. So, okay. Interesting. So lots of reversals in this group. And I feel like, okay, this Ace of Wands, I really want it to be in like the center, but since we have this King of Cups here, just imagine the Ace of Wands is like the center of the reading, even though that's not really how it's going to work with the amount of cards that we have and the way that I've positioned them. But, yeah, okay. So, biggest thing, I feel like, with all of these cards coming out in reverse, there's something about not knowing where you're going and not needing to know. Dropping all of your expectations and just moving according to your passion, according to your intuition, and trusting that you're protected, but literally dropping all expectations, dropping every concept of your future, of like what you think should happen, dropping all of that, letting all of that go, and just taking the action. So interesting. So interesting. And it's very, like, it's a fun and playful kind of thing. Like, and I feel like with the Ace of Wands and the Eight of Wands, like, it's about being creative and acting on the fly, acting in the moment, not being calculated about anything, really. And in some cases, maybe even like a radical letting go of any sense of agenda or any sort of like plan. I don't even want to, I don't know if I want to say that, but I feel like with the Fool and the Lovers in reverse, it's almost like this is so interesting. Okay, yeah. You know what? With this Ten of Wands here, maybe a lot of you have been carrying around burdens of expectation, burdens of like plans that you have to make, or even like attachments to things that like expectations that other people have of you, or expectations you have of yourself that came from other people, or commitments that you've made that are no longer serving you, or emotions, or anything that's like weighing you down. You might feel very weighed down, and this is almost like a releasing of all of that, and just focusing on moment to moment action, just like taking one step at a time, taking it one day at a time, with no expectations, like maybe cutting some cords if that's something that you're familiar with, like a cord cutting ceremony for certain things where you know it's time to let them go. But yeah, there's something that's up here about just like letting go of everything that could possibly hold you back from taking action in some specific direction. And yet, even if you're going in a specific direction and you have like a specific goal or vision or dream or project or idea, it's like you're doing that, but you're also not moving from a place of agenda or like having specific expectations for how that's going to go or turn out, if that makes sense. Because I feel like this is also specifically both in the areas of your career and finances, and also in your like relationships and love life, potentially, with the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups reversed. There might be cords that you need to cut around like scarcity mindsets in your emotional realms as well as your financial realms, that you might need to let go of, that are preventing you from potentially growing into your fullest potential. And with the Moon in reverse as well, that was just in the previous group as well. And that's like, to me, like fears and confusion, the unknown. It could be also the subconscious. In reverse, I feel like it might have a similar meaning to the previous group as well, in terms of like being okay with the confusion, or in this case, maybe even for you, radically letting go of fear of confusion and letting yourself embrace confusion, almost like letting yourself embrace the unknown, embrace not knowing where you're going. And yet at the same time, it's like a weird, it's like a weird paradox between setting your sights and directing your energy very specifically in like a certain direction and pinpointing that thing and just moving towards it without stopping, and yet potentially also not knowing exactly where you're going or like what that leads to, if that makes sense. Because I really do feel like with this Ace of Wands and the Ten of Wands on the bottom here, it's like there's something here that you're like letting go of everything else so you can focus on this one thing. And that one thing could be yourself. It could be your personal growth. It could be a project. It could be just like one aspect of your energy. It could just be like the idea of like just saying yes instead of saying no. Like maybe like taking action in some area of personal development where you like start with like one thing where you're like, I'm going to say yes to more things than I did yesterday, something like that. But like you're taking like one thing that you're focusing on and directing your energy towards and letting it take you where it will take you without necessarily having to know exactly what that will mean or where that'll go. Ooh. Okay. So I think we need some quote cards because this is confusing. And with the moon here in reverse, I feel like it's almost meant to be, because I feel like wherever you're at in your life right now, embracing like spontaneity, this is the word that just came up, spontaneity. Embracing that might be part of what you need. And in order to be spontaneous, you need to not know, exactly what's coming all the time, and to be comfortable with that, and to be like cool with just exploring and being curious. Now, that fell out again, but okay. Okay. Group 4's higher self. Any other quotes from this pile that you want to share? I'll give it one more shuffle. From this pile? No. Okay. Group 4's higher self. Any quotes from this pile that you want to share to help clarify or add any messages for Group 4? Group 4. Okay. I'll just give one more shuffle. All right. Let's leave it at that. So we've got 3 here. Interesting. Okay, so we've got words, and then we've got these 2 kind of like similar looking yet different squiggly line images where one is colorful and one is not. I feel like your higher self is almost maybe obfuscating some things for you right now, like purposefully clouding your future or making things uncertain or unclear, because you're meant to be embracing that energy of spontaneity right now, of action, and of letting go of commitments or expectations that are not serving you, so that you can hone your energy and focus it in one direction without knowing where you're going. I don't know. That's so weird. That's so interesting. I mean, like, it's not like I get what this is going for, but it does feel in a way almost very specific, even though I'm not getting a lot of specifics, So we have this card. It says words in big letters, and it says, if you have big ideas, you have to use big words to express them, haven't you? And this is from Anne with an E. Okay, so yeah, with wands, there's a lot about expression in wands. Like, wands are very expressive, very creative, and very physical. And it's like about your creative expression in your day-to-day life. And so, yeah, maybe for some of you, it's like, there's some things you have to express. It could be literally about expressing through words, and maybe thinking before you, speaking before you think, or speaking more impulsively, or saying things, I don't even want to say impulsively, but like saying things more directly, being more direct with your words, being, maybe even like thinking before you speak, but not to stop yourself from saying something just because you think, oh, but if I say that, people might think I'm weird, or if I say that, that might be too blunt or too direct. But it's more like thinking before you speak to ensure that whatever you're expressing or saying is truly honest and truly aligned with yourself and your higher self, even if it's not necessarily what you think other people around you want to hear. It's like listening to what's truly within you and in your heart before you're speaking. Not listening to the mental energy that is like just chatter of like other people's expectations and what other people think that you should and shouldn't say or do in a certain moment, right? And so it's like you're taking big actions and making big moves, but it's, oh, yes, I think we've cracked it. It's like this 10 of Wands, all these other wands are other people's energies, other people's wands, other people's ideas. And what this is asking you to do is drop all of those and focus on your singular energy, your intention, your power, what resonates with you, what feels true to you in the moment, and just going for it. Just doing the thing, saying the thing. As long as it's aligned with you and it feels right in your energy, doesn't matter what anyone else's energy is saying or doing. Like, you are aligning with you and you're focusing solely on your energy at this time. And again, I think part of like dropping expectations or like not thinking too hard about or planning, not thinking too hard about where it's going or planning out your words or like planning something, like not having an agenda is part of you getting in touch with your own energy and your own intentions and the truest self of you. Because often when you're coming from a place of agenda or of planning or overthinking, depending on who you are and what your situation is, for those of you, in this group, what might happen when you're doing that is maybe you're doing that in accordance with energies that are not yours, expectations that are not yours, other people's stuff that's not yours. And so this is really, really like honing you in on your specific energy, even if you don't know where that's going to take you because you haven't tuned in to that, or maybe you've been a little disconnected with it for a while, or you've had a lot of other people's noise around you. So you might not know where it's going to take you right away by doing that. But by doing that, you're getting comfortable in your singular solitary energy, knowing truly and fully who you are. And in this, imagining yourself within your higher self and connecting with your higher self, like diligently and regularly, and setting the intention every day to be you fully and authentically, like it'll just come out, it'll just happen. And this is about just like doing that with the singular, like, oh, what's that? There's like a phrase, like a dogged with dogged purpose and precision and just like determination to just be yourself, just connect with yourself. Like doing that is going to have a big impact on you and your life, but you also can't know what that's going to look like before you do it. So you just kind of have to do that and set the intention to do that every day. So we also have this card, which says, we almost always can point to the 100th blow, but we don't always mark the 99 other things that happen before we change. From All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. Yeah, so there's change is inherent in this path, in this being called, what you're being called to do right now, which is focusing on yourself, on your true self, coming into alignment with your truest self, and setting the intention to do that every day. That is going to change you and change your life. But it's also something that's been building for a long time. If you're at this point where you're ready to embrace this, like very focused, very individual path that you're embarking on, that is meant for you and only you, you will change and things will change, but also you've changed a lot to get to this point, right? So there might be like a sudden shift. Like this is the kind of thing where like, if this is something that makes sense to you and that you're being called to do and that you're really connecting with right now, it might be a thing where people will look at you and be like, whoa, like, who are you? Like, why are you saying this and doing this and being this way? Because if you haven't been in your own energy and really owning it and really acting and expressing from that place for a long time, people around you might not immediately recognize you. Some people who aren't really tapped into like your truest self, who might not, be close to you in that way, might be a little surprised. And it might seem like an overnight change or something, depending on how committed you are to this. But they don't see all the things that led to this, all the things that caused you to realize that you maybe weren't living in alignment with your truest self, and that caused you to really want to commit to this. But you do, and it's a natural progression. Where you're at right now, just like letting go of everything, letting go of all expectations, maybe cutting a bunch of cords and things like that. You've gotten here because you have recognized what's weighing you down, the burdens, and you're ready to release them, and you're ready to align with who you truly are, and step into a higher level of authenticity for yourself. And just say the thing, do the thing, and don't overthink it, and don't feel like you have to know where it's leading you exactly, or that it doesn't have to make sense to someone else's plan. Because I feel like you've got a lot of other people's plans and life goals and perspectives on how life should go and how life works, that may not be in alignment with what you want and who you are and what you believe and where you want to go. Even if you don't know exactly where that is, you just know it's not in alignment with other people's perspectives, and it's kind of like letting go of all of that now and just stepping forward on your path without thinking about anything but aligning with who you truly are every single day. We have this card, which says, "Nothing would teach me but personal experience. I'm just going to have to muddle through these first few times." From Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, so it's like, exactly, right. You just got to do it. Like, you just do it. It's like very Shia LaBeouf, Nike commercial, whatever that is. Just do it. Just do it. Just use those big words, express your big ideas, put yourself out there, do the thing one step at a time, day by day, with the intention that you are aligning with yourself. Maybe actually practicing connecting with your higher self every single day. It's like you're ready to step into that world. And it might be confusing at times. It might be a little scary to step into that at times because it feels like the unknown. But if it's truly aligned with you and if it's truly on your path, you will move through it and you'll see the results from it. And it will ultimately put you on a path that will feel more aligned with you, just more true to you. And you don't always know what that's going to look like until you take the step towards it. And then things just sort of fall into place. And using myself as an example, I feel like I'm still finding my path. Like, it's still unfolding for me. And I'm learning to embrace, just one foot in front of the other, moving steadily towards what feels like me. But, I didn't start out life being like, I'm going to be reading tarot cards and I'm going to get certified in hypnosis and be a hypnotist and all this stuff. Like, this was not on my bingo card for my life when I was like 5, right? And for me, for some people, like, that is something that's part of their world, maybe, like, from a young age. But like all this kind of stuff came to me slowly over time, and eventually I became more aligned with it and had to take some leaps of faith and recognize that other things that were other people's life paths just really weren't feeling good for me. And it's been a process. And I feel like for a lot of you might have the opportunity now to like really just like let go and cut off some things that are just not you, that you really know are not you. And this is like, go for it. Really like whittle it down until you are just focused on the one wand, and that wand is your energy, your power, who you truly are in alignment with your true self. And that's pretty cool, honestly. Yeah. So this is really cool energy, and I think that's exciting. I'm excited for you. If you are, and it might take some courage. It might take a lot of just like hyping yourself up, or learning how to really feel grounded and protected and rooted in your body and your energy. Meditation, grounding techniques, anything that you would use or that you're drawn to help you feel more safe and comfortable within yourself, and not relying on narratives and people who are just not aligned with you. And you'll know, as you go, what is aligned with you and what isn't. That might help you on this journey. But like, yeah, you're protected. You are powerful, and you have a lot of really awesome ideas and things to do, and things to experience, and things to teach yourself and learn yourself, and then also teach other people potentially. So yeah, just really commit right now to being yourself, to aligning with yourself, and it'll unfold for you, it feels like. So I feel like that's what's unfolding for you right now. I hope if that resonated and you enjoyed this reading, if you want, you can like, comment, subscribe. Definitely comment and let me know how this resonated. I'd be very curious to know. And thank you for watching. Thank you to your higher self and guides. And as this is the last reading, and I don't always remember to say this at the end of every other reading, but I'll say it now. Thank you to everyone who's listened, watched, and also come through. Appreciate it. And I also want to let you know, if you're interested, we do offer tarot, human design, and hypnosis services on sunflowerphilosophy.com. I'll link that in the description below. You can check that out if you're interested. And best of luck in your endeavors and in being yourself. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye!